Hello YouTube family, welcome back to the channel. On today's video, my brother Gary is going to show us how to make his homemade chicken and dumplings. I'm Jerry.
I'm Gary.
And we're
living the Newcomb life. This is going to be the best chicken and dumplings you have ever had. Okay, so to kick things off, I usually break the recipe down into three parts. The first part is the chicken, the second part is the dumplings, and then the third part is where I combine everything to make the chicken and dumplings. So to start, for the chicken, you're going to need 2 chicken breasts with skin and bone, approximately 3 to 4 pounds. Then you're going to need about 1 gallon of water. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of chicken better than bouillon, and about 16 ounces of additional chicken stock. As a shortcut, you can also use rotisserie chicken, but because you don't have the chicken stock that you make from scratch, you're going to need to buy about 1 gallon of chicken stock. So that's about 4 more chicken stock containers, or 128 ounces. Next is going to be the dumplings. The ingredients for that is about 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 stick of butter. That needs to be soft, so you're going to want to take that out beforehand and make sure that it's about room temperature. Very big deal. And then finally, 1 cup of whole milk. And then finally, when we combine everything together, the only additional stuff that you're going to add is an additional 1 cup of whole milk and 1 stick of butter. And really that's it. It doesn't take that long. It takes approximately 1 hour or so. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first thing that we have to do is, in a large stock pot, we're gonna go ahead and add our chicken. And then you wanna add about 1 gallon of water, or basically 1 to 2 inches above your chicken. Okay, to start this off, we need to bring it to a boil, so I'm going to put this on a high heat. Okay, next we're going to add 2 tablespoons of salt. Next, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of pepper. Okay, and then we're going to bring our water to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to put it on simmer and we're going to cook the chicken for about 1 hour. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get started on our dumplings. In a mixing bowl, we're going to add 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Okay, now that we've got our flour, we're going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper. Okay, next we're going to add 1 stick of soft butter. Before you start your recipe, make sure that you take 1 stick of butter and set it aside so you can bring it up to room temperature. Okay, now we're going to take a dough blender. That's what this is. We're going to take the dough blender and we're going to combine all of this up. So the main thing that you want to do is you need to make sure that the butter is mixed up throughout all of the flour. So take a little bit of time to do that. Okay, actually our chicken is boiling, so I need to put that down to a simmer and we're going to set our timer for 1 hour. Okay, now we're going to mix our flour, butter, salt, and pepper. Again, make sure that you mix the butter within the flour really, really good and fine. Okay, now that we have our butter blended up in our flour, salt, and pepper mixture, we're going to go ahead and add our 1 cup of milk. You're going to want to take a wooden spoon to help you mix this up thoroughly. Put in a little bit at first and then add the rest after. You may have to add some additional milk. Feel free to do so as needed. Okay, we're kind of looking for a pizza dough consistency, so you may have to add a little bit of additional flour or milk as you go, but it should just be minor amounts. Okay, once you have your dough ball ready, you're going to want to put a little bit of flour down on your workspace. And you need to knead the dough. So you're looking for the dough no longer to stick to your hands. So you just need to work it with the flour to dry it out a little bit to get to that point. Okay, you can see it's still sticking a little bit, so I'm going to add a little bit more flour. You want to add a little bit. You don't have to add too much. You just want to get it to the consistency where it's no longer going to stick to your hands or the work surface. You just want to work that additional flour in to dry the whole dough ball out. You can see it's no longer really sticking to my hands. So we're almost there. A little bit more. Okay, now that we've got our dough ball ready, we're going to go ahead and flour our surface again. You want to be pretty generous with the additional amount of flour. You're going to want to take a rolling pin, put some additional flour on the rolling pin itself. Pretty good coating. And then at this point, you're going to want to roll it out so it's about 1/8 of an inch thick into a very large square. One tip, if the dough is rolling back on the rolling pin, you need to add a little bit more flour. Okay, for my chicken and dumpling recipe, I want to point out that I'm doing the thin dumplings. I mean, everybody's had chicken and dumplings and everybody has done chicken 100 million ways. So chicken and dumplings, the recipe really focuses around the dumplings itself. So you really want to take the time to make sure that these are going to be good. I make them very thin, like I said, about 1/8 of an inch thick. And then I'm going to take a pizza cutter and I'm going to cut them into long strips to approximately 1 inch by 2 inch bite-sized pieces. Typically, there are two ways to do dumplings for this type of recipe. One is this way with the thin dumplings. The other way are what's referred to as drop dumplings. They're bigger, they're fatter. I don't care for them. A lot of people do, but I prefer it this way. So this is the way we're doing it. Thin, and we're going to focus on the taste of the dumplings themselves. Okay, so in our dumplings, what we're looking for is a very thin dumpling. And when you put them in the chicken stock, they are going to swell up a little bit. So we're looking for a very thin dumpling. And before we put them into the chicken stock, we're going to flour them on both sides. Okay, I just want to take a quick second to show you guys the dumplings here. If we can get a close-up, you can see that there's pepper in the dumplings. So that's really important with the flavor impact and everything on this. There's not a whole lot of ingredients to this, but with the pepper being embedded in the dumplings as it cooks with the chicken stock, it's just gonna really help bring that added extra flavor that everyone's just gonna love. Okay, so I just wanna take a quick moment to say that you need to make sure that your stock pot is a non-stick stock pot. Do not use a stainless steel one. In my experience, every time I have, the dumplings go to the bottom and they immediately stick. So just make sure that your stock pot is non-stick. Okay, earlier I mentioned a shortcut using a rotisserie chicken. The difference is that we're making it from scratch. So we're having to cook our chicken breast, and once that's done, we have to take the chicken out, let that cool. Whereas with the rotisserie chicken, we can just immediately add our chicken stock, take our rotisserie chicken and shred that up and add that in. So it saves you about 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, our chicken has been cooking for 1 hour. We're gonna go ahead and remove it from our chicken stock. So using a set of tongs, you wanna reach in, grab your chicken, and I'm just gonna put it on this plate here. Now to help speed things up, I need to get this chicken cooled down, so I'm gonna put it in the fridge. Okay, now in our stock pot, we're gonna take 1 tablespoon of Better Than Bouillon. And we're gonna take half of our chicken stock and pour that in. By adding this just helps take into consideration what we lost through evaporation while the chicken was cooking. And I'm gonna bring that back to a simmer. And I'm gonna stir this until all of the bouillon has dissolved. And we've got our fresh homemade chicken stock here. Okay, now that our chicken stock is simmering again, it's time to cook the dumplings. Once the stock is simmering, you need to take each dumpling and flour it on both sides and slowly drop it into the chicken stock, making sure to slowly stir while you drop them in. Stirring ensures the dumplings do not drop to the bottom of the pot and burn. So make sure you keep stirring until all of the dumplings are in and do not drop a bunch in at the same time or they could clump together. Take your time, drop them in slowly, and keep stirring until all of the dumplings are in. After 20 minutes, the dumplings should be cooked. Okay, now that we have all of our dumplings in, we need to let them cook for about 20 minutes. So now we're gonna go get our chicken and we're gonna shred that up. Okay, so here's the cooled down chicken from the fridge. It's time to shred it. So I'm just gonna remove all of the skin and then I'm gonna shred the chicken and put it in this bowl. You're gonna wanna leave it in semi-large chunks, so that way it allows the chicken to break down a little bit further as it's being cooked. So don't be afraid to leave it in somewhat semi-good chunks. Okay, so now that we're done shredding our chicken, we're gonna take it over to the stock pot. So we're gonna check on our dumplings here. So you can see they're cooking really good. They're about done. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of the stock here. Now we need to add 1 stick of butter and 1 cup of whole milk. All right, we're gonna stir this till our butter melts. That's gonna give us a little more time to make sure that our dumplings are cooked all the way through. Okay, and our last step is we're going to add our shredded chicken in. And we're going to mix that up really good. So we're going to let this continue to cook for about another 5 to 10 minutes to make sure that our dumplings are cooked and to let it thicken. So if the chicken and dumplings aren't quite thick enough, I have a thickening agent that you can add also. And that's 1 stick of butter and a half a cup of all-purpose flour. Just melt the butter, add the flour, pour it into the chicken and dumplings, and it'll thicken it up really quickly. We're going to let these cook for about 10 more minutes. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off, give this a good stir, and we're going to let this sit for about 10 to 15 minutes to let it thicken a little more and to let it cool off so that we'll be able to eat it. Okay, so it's about perfect now. This is roughly about the consistency and the thickness that we're trying to look for. You see that? The dumplings are all done. And we've got large chunks of chicken in there. This is perfect. Perfect. I love this. It's great. I think it's time for a taste test.
Did somebody say taste test?
Just in time, as usual.
Just in time. All right.
Okay, let's go ahead and check it out. How does it smell?
It smells fantastic.
Yeah. So the broth is really starting to thicken up. The longer it sits, the better it actually gets.
Yeah. So the dumplings are like just the right size, bite size.
Right.
Oh man, that smells fantastic.
Oh, the dumplings are perfect.
They are perfect. It's real smooth. It's like gravy.
Yeah, it is. And the big chunks of chicken.
Oh man,
just
that is
really
awesome.
It brings it to the next level.
This is fantastic, Gary.
So I've been perfecting this recipe for about 4 or 5 years, and everybody in the family's been asking me to write the recipe down.
Oh man.
So I finally did, and then we wanted to do a video to actually capture it all.
Absolutely. This is absolutely fantastic. I just wanted to take a quick minute and say thank you for taking the time to make this video for us. But if you guys make chicken and dumplings, let us know in the comments below. Do you prefer dumplings like this, or do you like drop dumplings, or what's the method that you guys use? But I think this is it for this video. If you guys like it, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's free and it really helps our channel grow. And hit that notification bell so you're up to date on all of our upcoming videos. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one. This is fantastic.
It turns out perfect every time.
This is fantastic. It's like every bite your mouth waters. I don't want to stop eating it.
The dumplings are perfect.
They're perfect.
They're perfect.
That is so good. I'm going to take some of this home with me. You know that, right?
Absolutely.